All right, still got a couple minutes left. I think everything is in order. Man, it is always a scramble when I come back from making out of town. So just to be fair, in my personal defense, I had a show planned for today that was going to be an edited and uploaded and then premiered show. And I shot it while I was at NAB. I had most of the editing done, and very last minute, a wrench got thrown into it, a very good wrench. If you saw the tweet last night, I told you guys that I had a new product added into the mix of what I was shooting a video on, and there was just no way to do what I needed to do with that to include it in the video, and leaving it out of the video would be the wrong choice. So I decided the video gets delayed, so I will do that next week. It'll probably be premiered next Thursday instead of today. So that meant I needed a show for today, and I scrambled around a little bit and decided to do it on that fun little light that you saw in the preview. So that is what we're doing. Shark, greetings. NAB was awesome. Highlights, you know, Bart was there. I see Bart highlighting the show. Greetings, saw him, and he is on his way home right now. It was a great show. I love going. And business-wise, for me, it's always very, very good. And I had some, met some new people, had some great opportunity. It was awesome. As far as surprise, no real surprise products. I mean, I saw some cool stuff that I hadn't seen before, but it's nothing that was massively new. Your typical Blackmagic's got their release of their newest DaVinci Resolve, which I'm actually going to really try out because I took a couple of little classes while I was there. They had a classroom, so funny, very clever. Blackmagic, if you've never been to NAB, Blackmagic has a massive, massive booth near the front of the hall. And then Adobe always has a massive booth that's kind of the middle of South Hall. Blackmagic had their booth where they always do. Adobe has their booth where they always did. Blackmagic set up a classroom, a 20-plus seat classroom right in front of the Adobe booth. Ooh. And I'm walking by and I'm like, this is my chance to sit down and get my hands on it. And I'm never going to watch YouTube videos. I mean, what is YouTube videos? I'm never going to sit down and watch the YouTube videos about it. I need to sit in a classroom. And so I took two classes, a basics kind of introduction to Resolve. It was just an overview of everything, a very, very high-level overview. And then a advanced color course. So it wasn't exactly advanced. But anyway, so I took two 45-minute long classes, and I really liked it. And the new version's got some killer features. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it a couple of shows, work on it, edit with it, see what I think. But I kind of like it. That was my big surprise. Ooh, look, my countdown's at 0. Shark. The only camera that I took to NAB was my GX85, and all I shot with that was B-roll for the piece that I didn't release. I didn't go there to shoot at all. I shot video for the video that it was supposed to be released on the iPhone, but that's part of the story. Anyway. And that you'll have to learn about later. For now, let's do a show. Give me a second. I can feel my throat starting to go a little dry here. I need, oh, I forgot to make coffee. I need water, which is definitely something that has to happen. So let me just take care of that real quick. I will continue to talk so you know that I haven't disappeared, and somebody's gonna pop in and be like, I can hear him, but I can't see him. It's okay. I just ran off to get water because, like I said, I can already hear my voice on the raspy side. That is, of course, the effect of being on a trade show floor for 3 days. Excuse me, where pretty much the only way to communicate is to yell. All right, we're done with that. We can get rid of that. Let's get this thing fired up and started for the intro, and we will be ready to go. There we go. That's the intro. Whiskey coming right up. Shark, man, that is a fine idea. Okay, everything's recording. We're good. Someone out there's having a fit already because of the lights, and get my opening, and we're good. Okay. On today's show, we're going to be talking about this P1 RGB Vlogger Light that has some pretty neat tricks, like if you want to pretend you're, running from the police or something. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live twice a week. Usually used to be 5, then it was 3, now it's 2. Don't worry, I won't go away completely. Show here at the YouTubes, youtube.com/PhotoJoseph, but you knew that because you're already here. Today we're talking about this new light from a company called ANDYCINE. I've actually reviewed some of their products before, and this is the P1 Vlogger Light. And you look at it at first glance, and it's just a nice little flat panel LED. We've seen these things before. You can mount this on your camera, mount it on a light stand, whatever, and get a reasonable amount of light out of it. But this one is RGB, and not only is it RGB, it has some pretty neat tricks. I gotta say, this thing is pretty impressive, to be honest. Let's start by looking at the price of this, though. Find the right page here. I know I have it pulled up. There we go. The ANDYCINE Vlogger Boling P1 Pocket RGB LED video light comes in at $159. So this is not a cheap light. However, as you are about to see, it is chock full of features that justifies that price point. So let's start just with the build quality. This is tough. This is largely aluminum. There's certainly some plastic parts on here, but this is a largely aluminum build, and that is nice. It feels really, really solid in your hands. When I first took this out of the case, I was like, ooh, it's a little on the heavier side because it's got metal, but that feels good. And that kind of metal build feel is something you want when you're dragging something around all over the world, banging into trees and whatnot. Having that kind of good solid feel is kind of nice. It actually comes with a very nice, very robust industrial case on here. Slide that into there, fits in nice and neat. So you got this nice belt strap case that it comes with. I don't know how many people are really going to wear it on their belt, but if you want to do that, you certainly can. You have, let's take a top-down look at this thing. You have on here an array of buttons along with this nice little RGB scale here, but don't let that confuse you. It's not like a, ooh, touched it. No, this is just a scale. So if you know what color you want to go to, you can look at the color guide on here. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's first go through the physical pieces of it. So looking at the front of it, there's your RGB panel behind a slight diffusion panel. If you get too close to something, you will see the individual LEDs show up in the reflection. So that's something you'll want to be careful of, but it does have a slight diffusion panel over it. This odd-looking contraption here is actually extremely cool. So here's how this works. This is, you can see 1/4-20 taps on here. So there's a 1/4-20 screw mount right there. If you turn it up this way, there's a 1/4-20 there. There's another one there. But this thing does a couple of things. First of all, it rotates out like so. So you have, like a handle if you wanted to do it that way. Or you could put it all the way around this way, and then it comes with a cold shoe adapter you screw into here, and then you can mount that onto your camera. However, it also tilts this direction. So what that means is you can stand this up on a tabletop like so. So now you have the ability to prop it up, and really, any way you want. This is totally rotatable, nice, good, stiff joints in here. It's going to hold its position wherever you put it, and I love that it has the ability to stand up on its own. So many lights, I've had little panel lights where the bottoms are a little bit rounded, and so you set it up and it falls over. Kind of like, your iPhone. You're like, oh, I want to set it up to, no, I just want to set, no, I want to set it up to what, and you can't, right? I've seen RGB lights like that. You're like, come on, really? And sometimes they put a perfectly flat edge. Sometimes they put buttons on the flat edge, but sometimes you have a perfectly flat edge, so it will stand up, but you can't tilt it. With this, you can tilt it. I love that. I love that I can tilt this, tilt it up. I wonder, I haven't even tried, could I tilt it? Yeah, you need a little weight on there, but you could kind of tilt it down. There you go, there's a slight tilt down on there, which is pretty darn cool. Kind of impressed with that. Now, I said that the arm on here is really nice and stiff. It holds its position very, very well. Wherever you put it, it stays there. The company realizes, has acknowledged that over time, the screws will come a little bit loose on here, and you'll probably need to go in and tighten that to make it, give it that nice, good grip feeling again. Well, they've not only thought of that, they've included a tool to fix that. When you open up the case in here, you have a little thing here that says wrench, open, and you go, well, what's in there? And you open that up, and there is a teeny tiny little Allen key that is designed for tightening up the arm on here. So I think that's a nice little touch. It's, little touches like that that tell you that they really put some thought into it. That's not the kind of thing you often see. All right, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let me fold this thing back up into its default fighting position here. Let's go through the buttons. So you've got on the top here a USB port for charging. It's USB-C. It will charge at a variety of charging capacities, voltages, and it will do a fast charge if you plug it into a fast charger. You also have on there your power switch, a set button that'll rock through to the different modes, a function/rocker button here. So this is multifunction. You can push in and you can rock it up and down. It's a rocker, it's not a dial, it's a rocker switch there. And then this dial here is the dimmer. So for brightening or dimming your lights, you can do that from here. And that is that is, what's the word I'm looking for? That is the set of controls that we have on there. That's all you got. So let's turn this thing on. If I turn it on with the power switch on the top, You can see it goes through a little boot up phase, takes a couple of moments in here. And right now what you're seeing is the mode. You can kind of see the lights flashing down there. It's what I opened the show with. It is going through its kind of special effects mode. So as I push the set button, it rotates through from a standard color temperature mode to a RGB mode. It's funny, it says HSI, or maybe it's meant to be HS lowercase l. It should be HSL, hue, saturation, luminance, because you can control all three of them. So we're just going to go with lowercase l and give them the benefit of the doubt on there. A little bit weird. Or maybe I stands for like illumination. I don't know. Whatever. Point is, you have the ability to control the hue, the saturation, and the brightness. So in this mode, for example, if I push the function button in, it rotates between hue and saturation, and then you have your brightness is always here, dedicated on this dimming slider here. If I push it again, it goes back to the first special effects mode. So we'll save this for last because there's some fun stuff in there. Let's go back into the standard color temperature mode. So with the rocker, I can change the color temperature from 8500. Let's just rise it up a little bit so you can see the colors coming through, down to 2500 there. Actually take the brightness down a little bit so it's not reflecting massively on the table. There you go, that's pretty good. That should allow you to see it. So there's your color temperature rocker like so. Then in this mode, when I push the function button, it doesn't do anything because there's nothing to change through. But if I hit set again, it takes me to the RGB one. So let's take the brightness up a little bit on here, and you see your hue and then your saturation. So if I want to do a nice bright red, there's 360, and I can, of course, refer to the color chart over here. And as I roll through it, you'll see how it rotates through the colors on there. And of course, if you want to change the saturation of that, maybe make it a little bit less rich, you push this in, it switches to S for saturation, and now I can take that saturation level down a little bit. And you can see in there how it's getting a little bit less rich. And then again, of course, you have the brightness. And then the final mode here, hit set again, takes you into the special effects mode. So there's 3 of these in here. So let's go through. The first one is meant to be a lightning effect mode. And within these, there are 3 modes. You see it says C right now. As I cycle back through, as I use the rocker, it goes from mode A to mode B to mode C. So the mode A and B are supposed to be lightning effects. So if you wanted to simulate, lightning outside a window or something, that's the idea. So I don't know how effective that would be. Let's see, can you even see it on the? You can't really see it illuminating the set here, but it's a couple of random lightning patterns. One's a little bit faster than the other on there. And then the third mode in there, the C mode, is meant to simulate a television. So if you wanted to have someone being illuminated by a television on set, you could have that one in there. It just goes a kind of a light flicker, nothing really dramatic, adds a little bit of color, mostly white light, meant to simulate a television set. That's kind of cool. Then you go to the A mode. Let's try that again. Then you go to the A mode, and the A mode has 3 again, A, B, and C. The first one is a slow RGB rotation, so you can see that rotating through the RGBs now. If you cycle that down to B, it goes to a fast RGB rotation. And then C is meant to be candlelight or firelight, so it gives you kind of a fireplace or a candle flicker on there. And then the last one is the one where I started the show on, and it is 3 different siren views. So A is supposed to be a police car lights. B is meant to be ambulance, and C is meant to be fire trucks. Now, to be fair, I think that the color patterns on those is not a universal setting. It's not like fire trucks and ambulances and police cars all have the same lighting all over the world. But you've got it. You've got the twist. And you can't adjust it. You can't say, oh, give me a longer blue pulse, or it's totally not adjustable. But it's a neat little setting in there. So if you want to have that kind of effect going on in your video, you've got it. And that's effectively it. Nice RGB selection in there, nice color temperature settings in there. You've got not only the hue settings, but you also have the saturation and then obviously the brightness. Very, very nice, robust handle on there for mounting this onto a camera, onto a light stand, wherever you want to do it, setting it on your table. And like I said, it is built like a tank. This is really solid. Time will tell, obviously. I just got this. We'll see after a year or 2 of use how well that works out. But so far, it feels really good. And that, my friends, is that. Hey, if you like this show, hit the like button. If you like what I'm doing here, subscribe for me. And do me another big favor and try and share the video. Hit the little share button below. That really helps me out, gets the word spread out there a little bit more. And that's about that. So let's jump into the Q&A. For those of you watching live, stick around. We'll have a little Q&A session. For those of you not watching live, the Q&A is going to pop up right here in just a moment. Greetings and welcome back to the Q&A session of the show about this fun little P1 light. If you are watching live and you got questions, pop them into the chat room and make sure you put @PhotoJoseph in front of it so I can see them on my screen, like I see here. We've already talked about a couple of these. We're talking about the NAB highlights before the show. Again, nothing crazy exciting, but it was a great show. I had this one meeting that I can't tell you about because it was one of those, the deal's not done, but it was a very, very senior person who I chatted with, and they really want to involve me in a project that might happen. You know, a little wishy-washy, but they're like, yeah, it's about 80% it's going to happen. So I'll certainly let you know. And when I get really excited announcing some new project that you all will be interested in, I can promise you that, you'll remember that it was from the NAB discussion. That was kind of cool. Alrighty, let's see here. Shark is already pouring whiskey. I like the way you think. Bart says, at the airport, gotta go. See you later, Bart. You're probably already gone. Safe flights. Shark asks, is this the bicolor version? Is there a daylight version of the light? I don't think so. I haven't looked around to see, but it's full RGB. You can even see if I leave it turned off. I don't know how well you can see that. I can't adjust the exposure on this camera easily, but you can kind of see, if I hold it like that, you can kind of see the different light patterns in there. So there are different colored diodes in there. I would say it's probably similar to the RGB panel that actually took apart on the show a few weeks ago. So we could see the RGB layout or see the LED layout. There's definitely multiple color LEDs in here. I don't think they're doing a non-RGB one, but I haven't really looked. But I think that this is the idea, is they're making this cool RGB that does color temperature as well. Sergey is saying in the I could be, HSI could be intensity. Well, that could be. Fair enough. Intensity instead of luminance, maybe. It's brightness. It could also be HSB, but it clearly is not. Isn't that a bank? Serge also says, while I'm waiting for mine. Oh, you're waiting for yours. Excellent. It does not show the remaining battery time. It doesn't show remaining battery time, but it does show the remaining power. So you see there, it's got 4 bars. Each bar is supposed to be 25%. It looks like 5 bars. 1, 2, 3, no, 4 bars. 25%. So you've got that. I haven't tested like a full-on how long it really lasts. I think the manual said it's supposed to last for about 1 hour and 40 minutes, which is pretty darn good. Certainly better than the other small lights that I've tested here on the show. And I will say that while I haven't had it on for a massively extended period of, actually, you know what? No, that's not true. Hold on a second. So 2 days ago, I shot some B-roll for the video that you haven't yet seen. And I've had this on, changing colors of it, moving it around. I probably had it running for, say, half an hour. No, maybe 20 minutes. And then yesterday I shot some stuff in the airport and I had it on not in RGB mode, in the color temperature mode. And it was kind of a fun thing. I set the color temperature in the camera to really cold and this the opposite, and I made a nice little lighting setup. Anyway, and I had that on for probably a good 30 to 40 minutes. The brightness wasn't up super high. Yeah, but I had that on, and I haven't plugged it into a charger, and it's still showing full charge. So it's definitely got some life to it. That or the meter is totally BSing us, but you know, it worked pretty. It's working out pretty well. Geeks Life says it's super awesome. You're going to need several. There you go. I agree. For those of you who are commenting, if you don't put my name in front of it, I don't necessarily see it, so please make sure you do. But I will grab so-called someone says, between this light and their monitors, ANDYCINE is building a shut up and take my money budget product line. I concur. They really are. They really, really are. Brian Cote, nice to briefly meet you at NAB yesterday. Oh, at the Epiphan booth. That was you. Thank you very much for saying hello. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. Yeah, I was rushing to the airport. Sorry about that. It was fun at NAB. I'm getting recognized more and more, which is nice. And obviously, NAB, it's like, you know, my people. So it's not surprising, but it's nice. But what was surprising, okay, now I'm gonna just a little humble brag here for a moment. And I tweeted this. If you're not following me on Twitter, you should. If you're not following me on Twitter, you may not have seen it. But I got in the car to go to the Atomos party on Sunday night, and the Uber driver is like, "I know you. I recognize you from somewhere." And then he realized, "I watch your show on YouTube. I'm a subscriber." Oh my God, it was so cool. I got recognized by my Uber driver. I mean, how awesome is that? It's like, that's kind of cool. I was pretty stoked on that. That made me happy. Okay, humble brag done. Okay, Shark says, does the LED light come with a USB-C charging cable? I have to buy one. It comes with the USB-C charging cable. I didn't grab it because, you know, it's a charging cable. But yes, it comes with a cable. It doesn't come with a wall wart to plug it into, but obviously you can plug it into your computer or into your iPhone charger or any of the other million chargers that you have. So, but it does come with the cable itself, so that's good. Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought a product like this that doesn't come with the cable. That would be a little cheap of them, wouldn't it? Shark says, I take it there are bigger versions of the light for bigger productions. Well, ANDYCINE has a lot of different stuff. I don't think they make a larger version of this exact thing in this form factor, but they do make other larger lights. And I've done, if you just search on YouTube, if you search PhotoJoseph ANDYCINE, you'll find the other products that I've done. So they do have a variety of products. As so-called someone said, they are really becoming the shut up and take my money company, because they're releasing a lot of really neat little products. And like I said, this is solid. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. It's so funny because when I first was playing with it, you know, I figured this out pretty quickly, right? Because you're like, what is this weird? Oh, okay. Oh, all right, I get it. We do that. I didn't realize until I looked at the manual that it does this as well. It's like, oh, that was dumb. I didn't even try twisting it that way. But how cool is that? I love that. That means I can set it up on its own. Brilliant, right? I mean, that is just nice. Very, very nicely designed. CWC, hello, greetings. Yes, you do need to get one. Hey, if you are going to buy one, do me a favor, use my link down below. I most certainly appreciate that. A little affiliate love is always a good thing. And Shark says, great size for my 10-bus Cinelux camera bag. Yeah, it's a nice size. I know the crack light that I reviewed the other week, or did a video on the other week, I shouldn't say reviewed because it wasn't really a review. I'm trying to figure out where I was trying to put this in on the live show. I'm like, where? I lost there's a joke in there somewhere. There it is. Whew, found it. Okay. So put that in there. The crack light fit in here very nicely. And since it's a soft light, you want to be a little bit protective of it. That gave it a really nice solid case. What I tried to do, it would have been so cool. It doesn't work though. This is obviously a charging port. I thought, what if it's a bi-directional port? And I plugged the crack light into it. Nah, it doesn't work, unfortunately. But how cool would that be, right? Anyway. So that's obviously just a charging port. But the crack light fit in this case perfectly, and then it had a nice solid, it's a nice little pairing. You got one that's all about the white light and one that's all about the colors. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, guys, it looks like that's it on the chat room there. So we're going to call it a day. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for your questions. Always love the live guests in there. Oh, we got one more. Fudson Media says, I almost bought an ANDYCINE 5-inch monitor a few days ago, but opted for the Field World Master ME5 instead. Also very good. Sure seems like ANDYCINE's got their stuff together. So Field World, you'll remember I did a review on the Field World F5 monitor not that long ago at all. And I went to their booth and chatted with their engineers there, looked at what's new. The next one that I'm going to review is their 7-inch super high brightness. It's a 2000 nit screen. So 7-inch, 2000 nit, and it is, I'm gonna get the price wrong. I wanna say something like $350. Really, really good price for a screen that big and that bright. That maybe it's $380, something in that range. The kind of price where you go, really? Wow. So that was pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. I will be getting one of those in here sooner or later to do that on. Okay, now I really am going. Thanks a bunch again, everybody. Take care of yourselves. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.